Yo, JD here, Limitless, and as you can see, back on F1 2020. I think this is my third video I've done with this, and today this is quite an interesting one. This has been a very heavily requested video topic. It is the pad versus wheel, and with the help of Eye Contrast, Australian YouTuber, who I've put in the link in the description down below. He's been doing very good videos himself in this game. I decided, or we both decided, to tackle Austria with the default setup, not changing the brake bias or differential or anything at all, and just going as fast as we could go. Because a lot of people have been saying from the footage that they've seen from not just my videos but other people's videos that there is a significant advantage with the controller when it comes to traction. And after being a controller player myself from 2010, or mainly 2011 up until 2017, and getting to a pretty serious level, I would say, with the controller, I have to agree that I always feel that the controller has had somewhat of a built-in, not a full-blown traction control, but a traction assist, I like to call it, because I'm not sure. I think on some games the developers or codemasters have felt that the triggers are just too sensitive, so they felt that the controller players actually did need that, whereas in my opinion I really do feel they don't need it at all. It's better to actually have it off, because I do feel on games like such as 2019, for example, the latest game we've had, there is definitely an advantage with the controller in terms of traction. I think you can quite see that of race starts, and particularly in wet conditions, because the traction obviously is going to be magnified in those conditions, and also the steering lock is not as important because you're going to go much slower. You don't need to be changing direction as quickly as well, and hence why on 2017, when I first qualified for esports before I got picked by Renault, I switched to the controller for the qualifying race I did in Spain. I don't know if a lot of you guys may not have even been on my channel back then, but it was a lot quicker, and I don't think it was a placebo. So I was trying to say, I think it was a real thing. So we decided to put it to the test today, and of course, the outcome of this isn't a guarantee of which device is quicker by any means or stretch. It does not prove that at all, but I think it will give you a slight indication. And Eye Contrast, I'm sure he doesn't mind me saying this. No, he's a decent driver. I've seen his videos. He's a good driver, I'd say, but in terms of esports level and entering that, I wouldn't say he's in that category, because he doesn't really try and be at that level. So you would think that the wheel, especially myself, because you can see the laps we're doing here, we should have, it shouldn't be easy, but it should be comfortable to beat it, I would say, without trying to sound in a very disrespectful way, which I hate the way it sounds. But you would think, because there should be other wheel users like Jana Opmir, Rasmussen, who are going to be not a huge amount quicker, but they are going to be quicker than me. And on the other flip side, you'd say there's going to be controller players quicker than Eye Contrast, like V Syra, LRT Lewis, those kind of guys. They're going to be rapid on that, and you think there could be an easy 3 tenths on both sides of the coin for each device, that they're going to be quicker than us. So it'll be interesting. And I feel, first off, from looking at the footage from people who've been on the controller's game, you can see already here, even on this, as we're trying to set better laps here, I do find that it just feels quite difficult to get on the traction. Initially it's okay, but then once before you change the gears from gears 2 to 3, it feels quite unpredictable, I would say. It's quite of a weird feeling to actually describe, but yeah, I'd just say, can't put my finger on it really. It's the best way to describe it is just being unpredictable. And I think we're going to do another video after this in wet conditions. I think it really will show for sure, but I think in the dry, choosing this track, which has been renowned to be quite a good track for the controller as well, it'd be quite interesting. And I think the advantages that the controller's always had is not just in traction. I definitely feel under braking it's very good. I think people underestimate having a vibration going through your fingers is very, very significant. It was for me. There was no way I could drive in the wet in 2017 on a wheel because I couldn't feel anything on my feet for the throttle and brake application. I really did need the triggers because they provided force feedback, and I just knew instantly when it was going over the limit. I knew when I was going to lock up. I knew when I was going to lose traction or anything like that at all. It was so important to me. And you can see we've got down to 1:03.5 here, which is not a bad time at all. I think the world record on 2019 was a 1:03.1.2, something like that. And we are in a Ferrari. We're not in the Mercedes. We can't showcase that at the moment for unknown reasons. DAS system, have no idea. As you can see, testing the track limits as we're trying to attack this track here, and that was just a little bit too far on that occasion there. But yeah, I was going to say it's not just the traction and braking. I'd say it is also the steering lock as well. The steering lock with the controller, I think if you get the line right, it can really work in your favor because it just gives you the perfect lock. And I think you're going to see that at the end of this video, because with the wheel there are more options for the corner in terms of the degree and angle you put in. But if you go, it's very easy to go too far, to overkill it, which would then ultimately either give you understeer or oversteer. It's very difficult to get the perfect rotation and degree every single time. But on board here for this lap, I'm not sure if this was my fastest lap. I think we're still on a 1:03.5. I think this is actually my fastest lap. See, the first sector, now looking at a lap, default setup, I feel it's quite good. I don't think it's too bad. Struggled a little bit with this corner, second gear, and then short shift into third, minimise the wheel spin, staying nice and tight to the right hand side here. And the braking points are pretty much the same as it was on F1 2019. Like I said with the Monza video, the only difference I feel in this track is that the curbs are just much smoother, much flatter. They don't kill you, pretty much. And that's the theme that I'm really discovering in this game. Going through the planted corner, pretty good. Going down into fourth gear and going up into fifth again. I think this is going to be my quickest lap. And going across the line, it's a 1:03.4, which I felt was solid. Honestly, I don't feel there's actually that much time left in that. I really don't. But we're going to go back to the garage and see where our competition is at. And iContrast has also done a 1:03.4.469. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. And this is his fastest lap as well. And you saw the lap that I did. I'm going to leave it completely open to you what you feel the difference is in this. I'm going into this first corner. It's very controlled. Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint really. I'd say we're going to do a side by side at the end of this video as well. No, it's very difficult for me. The word I just used when you first started this app, it just looks easy. It just looks controlled to me. It just looks, it's a lot more. It just looks easier, to be honest. That's how I see it straight away. And no doubt, he's driving very well. But again, you would expect people like V-Syra, IORT Lewis, people like that to be a lot quicker than this. So it's quite concerning to me that he's not that far away. And again, not being disrespectful, and I hope he doesn't mind this. I'm sure he doesn't. But on 2019, you can see he wasn't that close to the pace that I was doing on that game. Although this is technically a different game, normally the skills are quite transferable. So now you can see that's his 1:03.4. Now we're going to go side by side, and I've synced this up as best as I possibly could. I pretty much have. The camera angles make it quite difficult. So going into this first corner, the first thing that I notice here is that the steering lock, he wasn't applying as much steering lock. And again, with the wheel, it's very difficult to get that perfect point every single time. But under braking, going into this first sector, let's see what we do out here. In terms of traction, I'd say it looked bang on even coming out of there. It looks very close, and I've definitely been improving myself as I've been getting up to speed here. Going into this corner, you can see the lock again on the right hand side from my perspective. definitely just applying more lock, and it seems to be a lot more stable from his point of view. And again, you can see I'm almost at 90 degrees. He's about 45 degrees. Going into here, once again, pretty much the same gears we're choosing. I get on the throttle early in him, but it just looks a lot more controlled from his perspective, and it just looks, yeah, it's weird. I'm trying to find the words to actually describe it, but coming through here, coming out the last corner, yeah, it just looks a lot easier. It just looks a lot more stable, and that's the difference there. That is the difference between our times. No, that fraction of a distance. It just looks a lot more stable, I would say, from him. A lot more stable, a lot more easy. It just looks a lot easier ride going out through the lap. So it's very, very interesting. From this, I don't think you can really say which one is faster. I think we're going to have to do it in the wet, which is going to be left for a completely separate video. And you see, a lot of people have been talking about this. Leave it in the comments down below. What do you think from looking actually at that footage? Is something I might have actually missed. But again, thank you so much for the support, and I'll catch you very soon. Peace.